Hi, I'm Derek, and this is part 3 of our Windows 10 beginner guide. In part 3, I want to talk about creating shortcuts. We're going to create a shortcut to our desktop in Quick Access, and then we'll also create a shortcut that goes to a website. We're also going to just touch base on copy and pasting, cutting and pasting, and then folder structure. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to talk about folder structure a little bit here, just so you kind of know what I'm talking about. So folder structure is essentially every file that we have. You can see here that at the top here we have, it goes for, this is the name of our drive, then which folder it goes into, then what folder from there, then what folder from there, and then one other folder in there. So it's just a subfolder of a subfolder of a subfolder. This is called the folder structure. So it's important to, when you create folders and stuff like that, to name them something that you can easily find later, and also that makes sense. You know, obviously I wouldn't want to put my documents here inside pictures because it's named pictures. It would be kind of confusing to find them later inside the pictures versus the documents. So just keep that stuff in mind. And also too, when you make folder titles, like here I named this tutorial 1, we don't necessarily want to name this Windows 10 beginner guide tutorial video. It's too long. You are limited to how many characters can be in this address bar up here, though they never, you really only reach that if you really make a lot of folders inside of folders. All right, so we're gonna name this. Now, I just created this. These are our test files that we had from our previous lesson. And I created this folder to just kind of create a test, so we have something to create a shortcut to. Inside the folder, I put our test PDF that we had created. So, all right, let's talk about the quickest way to create a desktop shortcut. So let's say I have test 2 here, and instead of opening up File Explorer and going into Documents each time, I just want to be able to have an icon on my desktop. Well, the quickest way to make a shortcut is just right-clicking on the document that you wanted to, send to, and then Desktop, and it will create a shortcut over here. We know it's a shortcut by the little arrow symbol in the bottom left. You can see one for Microsoft Edge too, but you see there isn't one here. That means that this is the actual file and this is a shortcut. We can rename our shortcuts, and it won't change the name of the file. It just changes the name of the shortcut. So if you wanted to name it something else to make a little more sense when you're navigating on your desktop, you easily can without actually changing the file name. All right, and so for the folder as well, we can send that to and then create a shortcut from there. So that way, when we create or click on the desktop, it opens up right to this folder under C, users, the test, and documents, tutorial. It goes right into that folder structure. We don't have to navigate over here. And then lastly, we can create what's called a quick access. So let me unpin it real quick and I'll show you how to do this. So what you do is you just left mouse click and drag over to quick access. And you'll see this little tooltip come up that says pin to quick access. And you just let go of left click and you'll see that it's now here. So if I simply click over here, it brings me right into that folder. Do be careful though when you're going in here, because you can see like here, if I'm dragging this document that I want to make a quick access to, for example, I can accidentally move it into a folder. You can see here it says move to documents, move to desktop. So if you are working inside the folder and you're going to create a quick access, make sure to just take your time and make sure to, the tooltip says pin to quick access. You don't want to accidentally move the document you're working on into a different folder, and then you got to try and figure out where that went. All right. Okay. Now let's talk about internet shortcuts real quick. So on Microsoft Edge, we can type in, I'll actually open up Microsoft Edge and I'm going to open up Internet Explorer. Now, Internet Explorer is still installed on Windows 10. You just have to search for it down here For some reason, they don't want you to use it. The Microsoft Edge is their most current web browser, and it's the most efficient. It has all the new security protocols and everything, so they want you to be using Edge more, but there is Windows Explorer. Now, you'll notice one nice thing that I wish they would have included in Edge is the ability to create shortcuts quickly. So on Internet Explorer, we used to just be able to click and drag from the address bar onto our desktop. You can see it says quick link in desktop. So if I let go, it'll just create that shortcut for us. Now on the Microsoft Edge, you'll see if I go to click from here, it just highlights, and if I drag from the lock button here, or even if I try to pull it from here, this just opens up another window. So for some reason on Edge, they got rid of that. But if you ever need to manually create a shortcut, I'm just going to copy the URL. You can always right click on the desktop, go to New, Shortcut. Now you'll see this little wizard pop up. I'm going to just go ahead and close this window. This wizard is just asking you to type the location of the item. Now, even though there's this browse button and it will let us go through our file structure to find the file we want to create a shortcut to, you can also do internet address, as you can see here. So we would just put the full internet address, including the HTTPS, and then hit next. It'll say name, we'll just say Google, and then finish. And you can see here, we now have a shortcut for Google. And if I double click that, it will open up in my default browser, which right now is Microsoft Edge. Okay, so let's talk about copying and pasting. Okay, so copying and pasting, pretty much everyone is familiar with. The only thing I want to touch base on is a keyboard shortcut mainly is Control. If you hit Control, it's bottom left of the keyboard, CTRL, hold Control and then press C at the same time while holding Control. That actually will copy anything that you have highlighted, including text or a file. And then if you press Control V, it pastes it. So you can see here now we have a copy of it. Now, cut and paste. Cut just allows us to skip a step. Like, so for example, if I didn't want a copy of this, let's say I just wanted to move test over in tutorial. I mean, I could drag it, but let's say it was a little bit further in a different area. I could copy and paste it, but then I'm going to have a copy here, and I'm going to have a copy in here. Whereas if I cut and paste, you'll see it says test copy, but the one that was here is now gone. And I'll show you a quick example again. So if I copy this, not cut, go into my tutorial, paste, I get test2 here, but I also have test2 here. So they're duplicate files now. So versus if I cut, you'll see it goes a little less bright, and go into tutorial and then paste it, it's now moved in there and not in here. All right, well, once again, thanks again for watching. I know this was a much quicker one. I just wanted to be short and sweet to the point. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. Otherwise, thanks for watching.